Welcome back. And with me, I have Logan LeCompte. Logan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. You know, every time we talk, there's always something new. And I've gotten into this habit of waiting for surprises to happen during the interviews. So you just shared something with me that blew my mind. What company, or can you share what company you work for, or you have to say major global?
I could say Fortune 500 company.
Ah, so you work for a major Fortune 500 company.
Yes.
And what do you do at that company?
So I am an IT supervisor for global operations on the weekend side. So what I do is I manage Unix, Intel, network, and other facets of areas on the weekend.
Fantastic. So, man, you being an old infrastructure guy myself, it was the evenings and weekends was trying to coerce and gently, manipulate the staff to say, okay, how are we going to do this, cover all these hours? So they actually have a weekend shift.
Yep, have a full weekend shift.
Okay. Do you work, how many hours roughly do you work on a weekend? Is it?
On a weekend, I'll put in about 40 hours on the weekend.
Okay.
Altogether, yeah.
Okay. So how did you get to be where you're at today in terms of your education? I mean, can you give us a little, starting from the relevant things for a high school student? Like, what did you do when you were young to create interest in this?
Yeah.
You know I have a story, right?
Yeah. So when I was younger, I've always had a interest in, so it started off with an interest in hacking, right? I always had an interest in hacking. I don't know if it was from TV shows or whatnot, but something in that direction, right? And so the next logical step was how can I learn it? And not just like go and randomly type something on the internet and do something stupid. Yeah. So went ahead and found a program, BDPA. Went ahead and joined BDPA, and from that I started learning my basic programming skills. And with that, I did that all throughout high school, which then led me to college where I continued my education, double majored in network security and network system administration. So I got really hands-on experience, went to Dakota State University, which is now, they just built a new cyber lab and everything like that. And so learned very heavily from them. But one of the biggest things was an internship. And
Nice.
That's what I would recommend for anyone who's trying to get into IT, is doing an internship. Because when I was in school, I started my first technical job out of college was doing networking. And I hated networking in college. I thought it was the worst thing in the world, right? Horrible. Well, it was all from the person who taught it to you, right? I was being taught by an old Army guy who did everything in PowerPoint with no like colors or anything like that. It was just like hard into you. And then getting the internship, all of a sudden you start seeing it from a corporate side and actually real use case scenarios, right? So it changes your vision of it. Because if you would have asked me before my internship if I would ever have touched networking, it would have been absolutely not.
Wow. Let's back up just a little bit. I want you to touch on two things. One is how you learned the coding and how you got into the internship. And then also, two, drilling down, I want you to talk about is it SDSU?
DSU.
DSU.
Yep.
So I know Minnesota State has created this cyber range, right? So there's some big cybersecurity activity, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But tell us a little bit about getting an internship, because everybody wants to get an internship. Everybody is applying for scholarships and all that. But talk one about the title of the degree and the specific degree that you got, and how it's new and what happens there, what services are there. But then also too, talk a little bit about like how you just got an internship.
Right. So the main way that you really get an internship, I would say, is talking to people, making connections, right? So, for example, I was part of a high school program, BDPA. And during that program, we would have events where you could go and meet people who sponsored BDPA. And so doing that through this, I was able to meet some VPs and other stuff like that. From there, just kind of handed out my contact information, started making connections, and got lucky enough where they actually needed to fill in more internships, and they actually went and asked me to apply for an internship.
Fantastic. So you had your business card, networking, high school
Business
student,
cards, everything.
on your hustle, on your grind, huh?
Yep.
Not knowing what you're getting into.
Nope.
You just followed the advice of the professionals and said, hey, you need to meet these people. And I think networking and actually the social interaction is being missed, because a lot of young people, what they're doing is they're filling out these applications, they're doing the resumes and they're uploading them, and they're, in some cases, if they're in that top 10 percentile of, skills,
Right.
then you're going to get jobs at the major companies, right? And do the we don't care how you behave, we don't care what you look like, but we're going to take you on purely as your skills. But then you have 90% of the rest of the world that has to actually hustle, prepare, shave, and
Right.
do, as we both sit here with beards, right?
Yep.
You have to look a certain way and be a certain way in a professional context, right? So I think it's important for people to know that you didn't just fall into the internship. You put in a lot of years of Saturdays, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because I think the first or second time I met you, you were maybe 15, 16 years old. And I remember teaching you how to shut down the computers. And that's the joke.
Yeah.
I got to get my little story in here, too, right? But no, I showed you how to do the remote shutdown, and you shut down all the computers in the classroom at a local health company.
I did.
And and so you were on the top 10 wanted list. But look at where that's brought you today. You're very successful. You're working for a major global Fortune 500 company. Careful not to mention any names, don't want to break any disclosures, but for you to come this far and follow that pathway is a testament to your grit, your success, and perseverance. So in your job, can you tell us a little bit about, real briefly, like what you do as an IT supervisor on those weekends?
Yeah, so a lot of what I do is I oversee ongoing projects for the most part. And so really what I tend to focus on is where can we go next? I'm someone who I don't want to see a repeating problem. If we have something and it alerts multiple times, why is it alerting multiple times? We are now in a day of age where we can do a lot of automation and we can do a lot of programming to get around those barriers. So we really are looking at, okay, let's identify the issue. And then the next step is how can we tackle it so we never see this issue again? There's a lot of people who play too much catch up. And so you're just continuously tackling these same problems, not letting people grow, right? So the main goal is to go ahead and tackle these problems and go ahead so they don't creep back up, which allows the team to grow and learn more things.
Fantastic. So you're working weekends. You don't get a lot of weekends off, I'm taking it.
I don't get a lot of weekends off.
So you have the typical working stiff days, right? Monday through Thursday or so?
Yep, so I work Friday through Monday.
Friday through Monday. So Tuesday through Thursday, you're going buck wild with all this money that you got, all this excess capital. All
Right, got the 3-day weekend.
Big ballers,
yeah.
You got the 3 weekend. So what do you do for fun?
For fun, I travel.
Really?
I like to travel.
Okay.
Yep, I like to travel, and I like traveling.
So where's your favorite place to go?
So the past 2 years, we've gone to, we actually just got back from Cabo San Lucas, Mexico.
Okay.
Yep, so
Nice
spend
and
a
warm right
week
about
down
now.
there, yeah. So went there, got to come back to snow, so it was great.
Yeah. Well, Logan, thank you very much for your time, man. We appreciate you coming in. I know today is not a work day, so this works out great.
Yes.
And we're looking forward to you. And thank you again for this summer working with the kids with the cybersecurity and coming out to speak and talk. And at least we have you lined up to do some other things in the future. So
Yes, of course.
we appreciate it, Logan. So.
Awesome.